Hello friends, it's Sam Cheney reporting for UpInIceNews.com. Today's March 29th, 2017, and of course everyone remembers the infamous Trump tweet. Terrible, just found out that Obama had my wires tapped in Trump Tower just before the victory, nothing found. This is McCarthyism. And the Democrats and mainstream media went crazy over this, saying how could Donald Trump make such claims? It's treasonous, it's horrible. Well, reporter at Zero Hedge Smoking Gun. Obama defense deputy slips up on live TV, reveals spying on Trump team and leaking of intel. So who's the criminals? Who are the traitors? Looks like Obama and his administration. This woman right here, former Obama Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Evelyn Farkas, made some stunning admissions during an interview with MSNBC's Mika Brzezinski. Of course, Mika Brzezinski, is the daughter of Zbigniew Brzezinski, top globalist, co-founder of the Trilateral Commission. Famously said it's easier to murder a million people than control them. And so, while she was discussing the mad scramble by the Obama administration to collect and preserve intelligence on alleged Russian election hacking before Obama left office, it appears that Fracas accidentally implicated the Obama White House in the surveillance of Trump's campaign staff. We'll go to a video of her. Furthermore, Farkas effectively corroborated a New York Times article from early March, which cited former American officials as their anonymous source regarding efforts to leak this surveillance on the Trump team to Democrats across Washington, D.C. We had Trump come out and say it. We had Nunes, the House Intelligence Chair. That's my congressman, Devin Nunes. He came out and said it. Other people have come out and said it. Here's that New York Times headline. Obama administration rushed to preserve intelligence of Russian election hacking. The New York Times said it. Let's go now to Evelyn Fracas saying it.
Actually knew about this attempt to get and preserve information, and full transparency, we're doing some work yourself. Tell us about that.
Well, I was urging my former colleagues and frankly speaking, the people on the Hill. It was more actually aimed at telling the Hill people, get as much information as you can, get as much intelligence as you can before President Obama leaves the administration, because I had a fear that somehow that information would disappear with the senior people who left. So it would be hidden away in the bureaucracy. That the Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff's dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods, meaning we would no longer have access to that intelligence. So I became very worried because not enough was coming out into the open, and I knew that there was more. We have very good intelligence on Russia. So then I had talked to some of my former colleagues, and I knew that they were trying to also help get information to the Hill.
A lot going on today.
Yeah.
Mark
That's why you have the leaking.
Exactly.
People are worried.
So they're worried. They take it upon themselves to commit felonies. But it's justified because Trump's a Hitler, right? No, it's not. We need these people to be tried and convicted of felonies. Violations of national security. Continuing here. In other words, the Obama administration was concerned about spoliation of evidence gathered through various sources and methods of surveillance. So a plan was hatched to leak this information to Congress, also known as the Hill. Totally illegal, but they did it anyway. Possible conspiracy to frame Russia for the DNC server breach. On a related note, Evelyn Farkas is also a senior fellow at the vehemently anti-Russia Atlantic Council, along with CrowdStrike founder Dmitry Alapretich. Excuse my pronunciation. The Atlantic Council is funded by the U.S. State Department, NATO, Latvia, Lithuania, and Ukrainian oligarch Viktor Pinchuk. CrowdStrike, that's where the supposed intelligence source for Trump being linked to Russia came from, because that company, who's partially funded by Google, was the only entity allowed to analyze the DNC servers in relation to claims of election hacking. And of course, this Trump tweet calling it out. Is it true the DNC would not allow the FBI to check servers or other equipment after learning it was hacked? Can that be possible? Of course it's possible. CrowdStrike was the only company allowed to check the DNC servers, and they said it was Russia. The FBI never checked the servers. Notably, CrowdStrike has recently been discredited and was forced to retract evidence used in a botched report on Russian hacking Ukrainian military equipment. CrowdStrike has retracted statements it used to buttress claims of Russian hacking. And that story's been out a few days. To sum it up, the White House surveilled the Trump campaign and then leaked information to anti-Trump allies in Congress, also known as, quote, the Hill. The Russian hacking claim hinges on a CrowdStrike report from Dmitry Alperovich was forced to retract statements in the report blaming Russia for hacking Ukrainian military equipment, a failed attempt to smear Putin. Alperovich, along with White House leaker Evelyn Farkas and Ukrainian oligarch Viktor Pinchuk, are all senior fellows on the Atlantic Council, which is vehemently anti-Russia. As an aside, Joe Biden's son, Hunter Biden, sits on the board of a Ukrainian gas company reportedly owned by Pinchuk. Is it a stretch to suggest that the CrowdStrike report on the DNC hack was fabricated to pin the DNC hack on Russia? Let's not forget that Dr. Steve Pieczenik, former CIA spook master and expert in all things cloak and dagger, completely laid out what's going on. Let's take a listen now to a flashback from Dr. Steve Pieczenik.
On November 1, 2016, Hillary and Bill Clinton and their entourage of assistants effected a civilian coup. In contrast to the usual concept of a coup where the military is involved and takes over the White House and communication centers, very much like the scenarios you see in a movie, this coup was done silently and very effectively through two methods: corruption and co-optation. The Clintons have been involved in co-opting our White House, our judiciary, our CIA, our Federal Bureau of Investigation, our Attorney General, Loretta Lynch, and our Director of the FBI, James Comey, for some time now. What they've done is to make sure that they were part and parcel of a group of people who were interrelated through political cronyism. However, in order to stop this coup, we in the intelligence community and others involved have informally gotten together, and with their permission, I am beginning to announce that we've initiated a counter coup through Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. What has happened in effect when Comey had to open up the case of Hillary Clinton and discuss the emails that were involved with the Anthony Weiner case, it was not the case itself that was as important as the fact that this was the entree for many of us in the counter coup to say to the administration, we have your number. Not only do we have your number, we're going to stop you from making Hillary the President of the United States. And at the same time, we will convict and indict the President of the United States, Loretta Lynch, and many others who were involved in the cover-up of the massive corruption that occurred under the Clinton Foundation. Now, in both cases, their coup was silent, and our counter-coup was silent, and it was all transgressed or occurred on the internet. And this is probably the first time in the history of any country where a coup was initiated through the internet and a counter-coup was initiated through the internet. I am just a small part of something far bigger than myself. It was the brave men and women who were in the FBI, the CIA, the Director of Intelligence, the military intelligence, and men and women in 15 other intelligence organizations who were sick and tired of seeing this corruption in the White House, in the Justice Department, and in the intelligence system. And we decided that there was something we had to do in order to save the Republic. So we initiated a counter-coup through Julian Assange, who's been very brave and really quite formidable in his ability to come forth and provide all the necessary emails that we gave to him in order to undermine Hillary and Bill Clinton. Again, America, we're going through a major, major transition and, quite frankly, a second American Revolution. We do not have guns, we do not have weapons, we do not intend to kill anybody, we do not intend to harm anybody. But we, the American public, and those of us who serve as veterans and in the intelligence service like myself, will stop the Clintons from assuming power that they don't deserve. At the same time, we will make certain that Obama leaves without any trail of a pardon or any other act of treason. In effect, we want a peaceful transition in this great American republic. I bring you this news, and I want you to understand what has happened. A moment of history is occurring right now in front of us, and I'm proud to explain it to you.
That was Dr. Steve Pieczenik, Spy Master. Look him up if you don't know him. And remember, Seth Rich, the mysterious murder of Seth Rich, DNC computer expert. Recall that WikiLeaks, while they could not confirm Rich as a source, offered a $20,000 reward for information leading to the arrest of Rich's killer, then raised it to $130,000. Let's take a listen now to Julian Assange from WikiLeaks, who they try to say is a Russian operation. I doubt it, because Steve Pieczenik just told us that U.S. white hats within the U.S. intelligence agency gave the info to WikiLeaks to expose Hillary Clinton. Let's hear now where Julian Assange heavily implies Seth Rich as the DNC leaker.
Whistleblowers go to significant efforts to get us material, and often very significant risks. As a 27-year-old works for the DNC, who was shot in the back, murdered just 2 weeks ago for unknown reasons as he was walking down the street in Washington. So
that was just a robbery, I believe, wasn't it?
No, there's no finding. So
what are you suggesting? What are you suggesting?
I'm suggesting that our sources take risks, and they become concerned to see things occurring like that.
But was he one of your sources then? I mean,
we don't comment on who our sources are.
But why make the suggestion about a young guy being shot in the streets of Washington?
Because we have to understand how high the stakes are in the United States, and that our sources are, our sources face serious risks. That's why they come to us, so we can protect their anonymity.
Yeah. The search for DC staffer Seth Rich's killer continues with billboards and website. So they still haven't found the killer. They probably never will, even with a $130,000 reward. So it looks like the Atlantic Council connection between the members of Obama's Department of Defense who leaked surveillance intel to Congress and increasingly suspicious CrowdStrike report and Ukrainian oligarch are mere coincidence. At worst, we may be looking at massive treason committed against an incoming U.S. president. Of course, that's what we're looking at. So there was a conspiracy by these people on the Atlantic Council and the Obama administration, by this Ukrainian oligarch, by CrowdStrike, and by the Obama administration Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense, Evelyn Farkas, to go ahead and commit treason against Donald Trump. This woman right here. So yeah, it's obvious there was a conspiracy, and they're telling on themselves on live TV and through the Washington Times, and it goes on and on. But let's just blame Russia for everything when the Atlantic Council has conspired against Donald Trump, his administration, and the people of the United States. We need to continue to investigate this story, expose CrowdStrike and their fraudulent report, and ask the question why the FBI never looked at the DNC servers. Why are they out there bragging about leaking this information? And what the hell is really going on with the Atlantic Council? We need to hold all these people accountable and call for Congress to investigate the conspiracy of the Atlantic Council. I'll continue to report about this story as details develop. Do your own research, subscribe to this channel, speak out and take action. Speak out and take action.